you couldn't really have had more perfect conditions for the Labour Party for an election, with all the sort of Partygate stuff going on, the cost of living issues, people struggling to pay their energy bills. You know, many people might say, well, you know, is that really the best the Labour Party can do with those conditions in there, so much in their favour, to have a result which, if was a general election, would lead to a hung parliament? Should you not be doing better in these elections?
Well, I think where we're coming from is a very high base of 2018. And so therefore, it's interesting to see how well we've done in retaining those seats, and the Conservative Party losing some of those seats. We got a huge issue in 2019. Where we lost a significant number of parliamentary seats as well. And to show that we now steady the ship and want to move forward, we've made fantastic gains down south, particularly in London, which has been really good. And I think what we need to do is now start to get that across as we move towards looking at delivering the issues that they need and fighting against this huge problem with the cost of living and all the increases that the Conservative government has made. Rather than trying to support people, what they've done is they've gone with the big energy companies and tried to support them.
And Khalid, you're right, you did do well in London, there's no two ways about it, but where you didn't do well was regaining the trust and the votes of that red wall that collapsed during the general election. So my question to you, is the Labour Party no longer the party of the working class?
Well, look, what we're doing, what Keir's doing particularly now, is getting back to starting. We're coming down from a base in 2019 where we had huge issues, and where the Conservative Party, as you say, gained those red wall seats. What we've done now is stabilised it, and with the new policies coming out, supporting the working people and people who are going to be under a huge amount of pressure through the cost of living, the energy crisis that's already biting people now. And people will see in October how devastating that's going to be. People are talking about it at the moment now, but the real effects are going to be in the autumn when those prices go through the roof.
Khalid, I think you're absolutely right. The cost of living is obviously the biggest challenge facing the public. It's the biggest challenge facing politicians, I guess, too. One of the things that the Labour Party have proposed is a windfall tax on the big, you know, sort of oil companies and people like that. And I think, I'm pretty sure lots of people will probably think that that's a good idea. I just wondered, you know, people want to know how much is a windfall tax going to raise, and how would the Labour Party want to distribute that? Would it want everybody to get help from that, or would it target that help at just a narrow band of the population?
Well, no, what the Labour Party is going to do is look at those people that need it. But the fact is, if rather than charging the people and then trying to give them a loan, which is what Rishi Sunak's come up with, what we want to do is tackle the crisis and decrease the price of energy, because that's the most effective way of doing it, increasing the price of energy for all of them. What we don't want people to start to do and street against street, which is what you're suggesting, that's not the way to deal with it. The way to deal with it is take those money in the windfall tax from those energy companies and start to deal with the energy companies in terms of trying to lower the cost base. In some of the instances, in small businesses at the moment, they're increasing by fourfold. It's absolutely crippling to some of the local businesses. And what we need to do is sort the energy companies out and deal with them and to move forward on that.
Now, Keir has said that Boris Johnson has to go. He's talked about honesty and decency being vital in politics because of the Partygate situation, because of those fixed penalty notices. Now there's an investigation into Keir Starmer for his beer and curry night. So if he is found guilty and gets a penalty notice, should Keir now go?
Look, the situation is, well, first of all, the police need to investigate it. Secondly, the situation is completely different. He was on a country tour trying to motivate people for the Labour Party and working on that. It's a very difficult process. All of us who go around the country and look at this issue to deal with. What he did do is have some food in the process. This is totally different from what happened in Downing Street, where people sent messages for a party, bring your own bottle, go up with a suitcase to the co-op and bring back some wines and deal in that way. This is not a set-up issue. This is where somebody had to eat and have a bottle of beer with the food that they were having, and that's it.
Khalid, you say that. I've heard other Labour MPs say that, but this is what Keir Starmer tweeted out on the 31st of January. He put, honesty and decency matter. After months of denials, the PM is now under criminal investigation for breaking his own lockdown laws. He needs to do the decent thing and resign. Now, if I were just to replace the word the PM with Keir Starmer and read it out again, after months of denial, Keir Starmer is now under criminal investigation for breaking his own lockdown laws, because, of course, he voted for all of them. He needs to do the decent thing and resign. What's so different about one statement being the PM and one statement being Keir Starmer? Most people won't see the difference.
First of all, Phil, the difference, first of all, is simply this, that what Keir Starmer said, and is from the start, when the first photos came across, he said that's exactly what he was doing. He was having some food after campaigning, and he had a bottle of beer with that, and that's it. So he hasn't denied that he didn't do that. He stayed true to the principle of saying that yes, that's what we did, and there was no investigation. Now, after a huge amount of lobbying of the police, they've decided to carry out an investigation. Let's look at the results of that. But this wasn't a party as such. Is when you're working off, you had to have some food, and that's all it was. And he's been consistent about that from the start.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.